Yo, we are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome to the Smack Talk Wrestling Podcast, episode 17. It's your boy, Pro Wrestling Kingpin, and I'm here with my co-host, Gonzo. Gonzo, how are you doing tonight?
Oh, we're doing fantastic. I'm living in the world of delusion right now, so we're going to have ourselves an interesting show.
We got AOK here, here but not here. He's our third co-host, missing a second straight week because he's still sunburnt from, going on vacation during every PLE known to man. But whatever, we'll see what happens with him next week. We got some doozies of Pushberry fires for him, so he better join us next week. Otherwise, we're going to give his job to Derek, the guy. But here we go. We got a packed show for you guys. But before we do that, once again, if this is your first time watching or listening, this show is a WWE podcast. We've discussed this past week in the WWE. I always say this every week, but for now, hopefully we'll expand into more wrestling in the coming episodes. But for now, this is strictly a WWE show. You could find us every Wednesday night live here on YouTube, 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, or you can go and obviously, if you miss it, you can go and rewatch it on YouTube or listen to us on Spotify. It is uploaded the day after, so you could get the upload on Thursdays. But with that being said, Gonzo, we have a pretty packed show. We just came off a PLE. Normally, we would go live for PLEs. We couldn't, duty calls with the wives. But, that's life, right? But let's get into it. It was actually a pretty solid show. I don't know about you. We started with the women's tag team title match, the match I cared least about because we all know what was going on in that match. But we had Cargill and Belair defending against Candice LeRae Hartwell, a.k.a. The Way from NXT. It was a pre-show match. We saw them retain. What did you think of that match?
Because I wasn't able to watch it live, I didn't even know that was a match. So I skipped right through the pre-show because that was about, an hour and a half to 2 hours or something like that. So, yeah, oops. So we're going to have to talk about that, not me.
Wonderful. Well, anyway, I'll save this segment because, this guy's not prepared tonight. But the match was surprisingly solid. I mean, we all knew what the outcome was going to be. But I could just care less of the tag team division for the women's tag team division, excuse me. Cargill and Belair obviously retained. Wasn't anything that was going to shock us. But it did give, LeRae and Indy Hartwell some light on a PLE, which they're great competitors. And I just wish they gave more substance to the women's tag team division. I mean, as of right now, it's pretty much just going to be squash match after squash match, in my opinion, with these two powerhouses holding that title. But moving on to one of the big ones, the Women's World Heavyweight Championship match between Becky Lynch defending against Liv Morgan. We saw some crazy shit this match. I thought the match was pretty good overall. The story here is obviously Liv won the match, which I predicted. But Dom inadvertently helping Liv win with sliding the chair into the ring. And instead of Becky using it, which we all knew because she is an ultimate face, Liv Morgan used it and won the match. So what do you think of the match? And what do you think of this inadvertent interference? And I put quotations in there, and I'll let you know why in a second.
Overall, very solid wrestling match. Storytelling was there. As far as Liv Morgan doing her best Britney Spears, Oops, I Did It Again from the late 2000s outfit, it was fantastic, right? And so
these outfits in Saudi, dude, for these poor women.
No, they were killing it. I actually loved it. It was pretty cool. And so as far as, again, Dominic coming out and inadvertently interfering, providing interference / a chair, it's something that I was wondering as to how and when Dom was going to get a little bit more involved and what was Liv going to do, right? Because her whole revenge tour, she made it very specific that she was going to take everything from Rhea. And so here we have it. Saved it for a PLE. And ultimately, Liv Morgan has finally defeated, right, Becky Lynch.
I love how you said that Liv Morgan was going to take everything from Rhea, because if you notice, there's still shit going on Raw. between Liv Morgan, the Judgment Day, and all that stuff. We'll get there in a second. But she also said after she won the championship that the revenge tour is still not over. And I put quotation marks inadvertently is because I truly believe Liv is going to take even more from Rhea, and that's Dom and the Judgment Day.
Are we going to have another match where someone is going to be fighting over the custody of Dominic? We had Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio from back in the day, so here we go with Liv Morgan and Mommy.
A custody of fucking Dom? Whatever. Let's spill into a Raw a little bit before we continue with the PLE. So let's stick on the Judgment Day. So clearly things aren't going the Judgment Day's way. You know, Dom allegedly, again, I'm putting that in quotation marks, tried to help Becky Lynch to keep Liv from getting the title. All right. That happened on the PLE. JD McDonough gets absolutely squashed by Braun Strowman, which the Judgment Day story was just surrounded on Monday Night Raw from the entire show leading up to the eventual rematch on the cage with the cage match between Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan. Judgment Day attacks Strowman post-match. Strowman searches for JD all throughout Raw. It was clearly what was going on. I mean, chasing him. I don't care about Braun Strowman. He's a big man I hate. I'm just going to throw it out there.
They changed his name.
What is it?
It used to be the Monster Amongst Men.
Amongst Men, yeah.
Now it's the Monster of All Monsters.
Even lamer. The Judgment Day attacks Strowman post-match. Strowman searches for JD throughout the show. One interesting thing is to support my theory as far as Liv is still going to take everything from Ripley, is that Priest calls out everyone in the Judgment Day backstage, if you remember that segment, on having conversations with Liv, you know, with the backstage moments. You know, we see over these past weeks, we had Liv in the back of other people's promos talking to other members of the Judgment Day. What do you make of all that? Do you think my prediction is a little far-fetched, or do you think like that's pretty much going to be spot on?
It's seed planting, because it was a wonderful sight to see that the Judgment Day has been failing on every single thing that they do. They need help. They need 2 to 3 people to get anything done. And then the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, hopefully I said that correctly, comes out and he clears the entire ring effortlessly, right? And so that was a message that was sent. In addition, like you said, is this going to be, I'm going to agree with you, yes. The champion is making his point, and it's very evident now. And I don't think that there's any more misconstruing that. And you could even see that there's tension now between him and then also Finn Balor, because Finn actually did wonderfuls with his facials on this episode whenever it is that he was in eyesight of the champion. And so this is starting to shape up to be wonderful, wonderful, wonderful storytelling.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, everyone is failing in the Judgment Day since Rhea Ripley left, except Damian. Obviously, Damian's the odd man out. He's cutting these half face promos, half heel promos, kind of conflicted as far as where his direction is going to go on certain things that he wants to do with the Judgment Day. Calling out, like I said, everyone talking to Liv. And one thing that he also said is that Priest says it's time for him to set the example and to take care of business. Fast forward to more Judgment Day involvement. Well, Carlito's not really Judgment Day, but he's trying to help the Judgment Day. But we had the Rey Mysterio match with Carlito. In that match, Finn Balor attempts to help Carlito, and Rey ultimately got the victory because, once again, Judgment Day failed in everything that they try to do. Mysterio immediately attacks Finn Balor post-match, and who comes out? Damian Priest. And he takes care of Rey Mysterio, basically setting an example and just staring down everyone that's out there for the Judgment Day, saying this is how it's supposed to be done. And that's just creating more conflict in which I want to see, which we're eventually going to get the feud of the summer, in my opinion. It's not going to be CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. It's going to be Finn Balor and Damian Priest. But we'll get there. And then we get the rematch in one of the worst cage matches I've ever seen in my life. Sorry. They had 10 minutes to do their spot. That cage match came out with 10 minutes left in the show. It felt rushed. There was no coordination. However, the story was there, so I'm going to give it that just because of everything that's going on with Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan defended against Becky Lynch. Dom once again tries to fix it by orders of Rhea Ripley. Strowman finds McDonough when they're all out there trying to help. Runs into Dom. Dom slams the door on Becky Lynch as she's trying to escape. And Morgan retains. Once again, is this an accident? Is this truly an accident? She makes out with Dom as they're coming up the stage, which that was a shocking moment to everybody. I still keep going back to the fact that Liv is going to take everything, and I think once that dissension comes from even Finn Balor and Damian Priest, Liv takes Judgment Day. Damian Priest might even be on his own, maybe even with Ripley as on his side when she eventually comes back. But that's what we got with the Judgment Day. I mean, I think it's right now one of the best stories going on. But the Liv Morgan revenge tour, I'm all for it. And I know Derek the Guy's not here right now, but you talking about me giving other people her flowers. I'm giving Liv her flowers right now. Because this story, I'm 1,000,000,000% invested right now. Right now. Nothing like stealing someone's man.
Oops, she did it again.
I'm just saying.
Liv is white hot right now. Well, everything that she's doing is tremendous. She's been carrying tremendous energy since she came back from, I think it was 3 separate injuries, because I think she had the labrum tear and she ended up getting surgery, and they discovered that I believe she had a bicep and tricep tear in addition to that. So ultimately, she's looked fantastic ever since coming back. And if we were to recall just with the Royal Rumble that declared the man the champion, lackluster, didn't care, wanted it off of her, they give us a stellar match at the PLE with how it ultimately had turned out. And you have now the story and the characters to make us want to care that she's champion. What better way than whatever it is that they've been doing and they continue to plan for? So I'm excited for it.
Let's get to this
there he is.
He is here. He is here. 2 name drops in one pod. He must be special. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. I'm just giving your girl Liv Morgan, her flowers right now because she's got me invested so much in this story. Because Judgment Day's been getting kind of stale, but Liv's making it interesting. I don't really care about Carlito trying to get himself inside into this Judgment Day, or at least getting their back against the LWO. But Liv Morgan right now, like David says, white hot. But moving on, we have the Intercontinental title triple threat match. Sami Zayn defending against Bronson Reed and Chad Gable.
That's at the PLE for everyone that's following along.
Yeah, that's at the PLE, yep. At the PLE for the King of the Ring PLE triple threat match. Your boy Chad Gable getting "You Suck" chants.
Let's go. 2 nights in a row and it carries over. I know you're not a fan of this, but I am all for heel Gable.
We'll get there. So what do you think of the match at the PLE overall?
It started off strong with heel Gable sending Dupree to the backstage, getting the crowd immediately invested in the "You Suck" chants. And from a wrestling standpoint, all 3 of these men put on a very good showing. And of course, the end of the match is where the storytelling then comes into place, where Otis ultimately bulldozes heel Gable, and it leads to the Sami Zayn Halula kick on Bronson Reed for the 1, the 2, and the 3. Overall, though, from a wrestling match, Bronson Reed looks really good, and so do the other wrestlers, as they all, triple threat matches are usually hard. I don't know if you would agree with me, but triple threat matches are very hard with being able to make it believable, have rhythm, have flow. And I think these guys, even though there's a size discrepancy with Bronson Reed, he moves very, very fluidly when it comes to working with smaller wrestlers. And even with bigger wrestlers, that's just a testament to how good of a performer he is. So as far as Sami Zayn retaining, we all figured that was going to happen. It was just more intriguing, as to, at least for me, as to what Gable was going to do, and ultimately what Otis was going to do in response to what's been building these last couple nights now. I don't know how you feel about it.
Bronson Reed being a big boy, that blue thunder bomb that Sammy delivered to him was like flawless.
Mm-hmm.
That was nasty. That was one of the best Blue Thunder Bombs I've ever seen him do. And a Blue Thunder Bomb is hard even to do with a guy like Sammy size. And to have a 300, I think he's over 300, right? Isn't he like
Yeah, he's a
three?
big guy.
Isn't he like 360 or some shit, some crazy number?
He's
Like,
big. Well,
dude,
because I know Braun
nuts.
Strowman is like 385.
Yeah, nuts. Just to pull that off alone. I thought it was a fantastic match at the PLE. That was one of my favorite matches of the night, to be honest. But like you said, Otis hesitates on Sami Zayn, and then Otis inadvertently hits Gable. Ultimately, your boy Sami Zayn retains. The storytelling's there as far as your boy's heel turn, which I didn't care for prior to Monday night.
Oh, Monday night's great. Let's go. Let's continue to ride this out.
So let's talk about Chad Gable's fucking heel turn, which once again I did not care about until Monday night. So I'm gonna let you. So this is your boy, so I'm gonna let you take this one. Let me know what Monday transpired and how you feel about it, and what do you think is gonna move forward with this his little push.
The Alpha Academy all comes out. You have heel Gable can't talk tonight. He has them leading down to the ring, lines them up all there. Ultimately, he aims his frustrations towards each of the members, degrading them even more. You hear "you suck" chants screaming through the arena. On top of that, he turns his attention to Otis and literally he unleashes on him. And ultimately, he forces him to go to the ropes. And you see him take his belt off and he's going to whip him. I said 10 lashings. Let's go.
They should have let him do it, dude. They should have let him do it. Like, Sami Zayn should have came after like the third lick. And then he should have been like, hey, stop this shit.
The pop that Maxine Dupree receives interrupting Chad Gable. Were you ready for that? No, no one was. The crowd was.
She got a pop because she was saving him. I can guarantee you that crowd don't give a shit about Maxine. I'm sorry.
Chad Gable's putting them all over right now.
I'm not trying to be rude, but like once Chad Gable gets rid of these guys and they go full face without him, I'm sorry. It's the only one that's gonna benefit the most out of here is Otis.
Otis
is 100% gonna be Otis. No one's gonna care about Maxine Dupree, and no one cares about Tozawa right now, even though Tozawa is a freaking stud. Like, give me a cruiserweight division back, and this guy's it. But yeah, she did receive a great pop. I do wish they would have just let him push the limit just a little bit. They should have let him, give him a couple licks with the belt, and then Sammy. You could still done everything that you've done that night. Maybe Maxine trying to stop it after the first one, and after the third one, then Sammy comes out and actually stops it. Regardless,
we're not on Netflix yet.
Regardless, it was a great segment, and that segment right there finally sold me on Chad Gable's heel turn. I mean,
Gable's facial expressions for weeks now have been perfect. He creeps you out. He is just a monster, and it is wonderful to finally see others get on the bandwagon. I've been on it for a little while now, but I'm happy to hear that other people are finally.
I'm starting to enjoy it.
Well, hold on. Even people at work, I had literally my whole medical office up in an uproar because apparently we all like wrestling. So now, whenever we catch a glimpse of one another, it's usually the fingers up or the thumbs up as we walk through the halls.
We do that at work too. We do this.
So
yeah.
One of my coworkers asked me, "Did you watch Raw?" I said, "Not yet." So they asked me again, "Did you watch Raw?" And I said, "Can I get some lashings?" And he's like, "Let's go." I am all for heel Gable. I wasn't before. He was in a very similar stance as you are. And you know what? It's an organic "you suck." It's organic booze. It's organic pops now. I think we have something here.
You should have let him hit him with the belt. That's
We're not on Netflix yet. Not
Who
yet.
Who cares?
Is he The Rock? No, The Rock can get away with that.
Ugh, that should have happened.
USA cares. That's who cares.
Oh man. So last thing about that before we move on. So Otis remains conflicted despite everything that happened. He still hasn't turned on Gable. When is he turning on Gable? If ever.
Oh, it's coming. You know it is.
You never know, man. I mean, they could just keep teasing until he's like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna stay heel. You know?
PLE SummerSlam.
I think it's SummerSlam's going to be definitely Chad Gable versus Sami Zayn, and Sami Zayn has to drop it to Gable at SummerSlam. He has to.
No, he doesn't have to.
He has to.
LA Knight treatment. If he's got over with the crowd, I don't think it matters.
Yeah. What's LA Knight doing these days?
Well, he's on SmackDown, so ultimately we can't talk about that.
I know, but what's he doing these days?
Making millions.
Google his salary.
Makes more than me. Makes more money than me. That's all I gotta say.
Whatever. Moving forward, back to the PLE. We're doing a lot of jumping today just because the storytelling still carried over from the PLE. But here we go. So we got the Queen of the Ring finals. We had Lyra Valkyria, shockingly, in my opinion, facing Nia Jax. I truly thought Bianca Belair was going to beat her last week. She didn't. We got Nia Jax. Nia Jax hit an absolutely disgusting annihilator where I thought Lyra Valkyria probably got the wind knocked out of her. That was nuts. Lyra looked strong the entire match, but we're going to give your girl her flowers. Jax is the Queen of the Ring.
Let's go.
Go ahead and take me through it, buddy. What'd you think of the match?
Well,
is this the right decision as well?
I think it's the right decision. Absolutely. She's been great for months now. And so the one thing that I will say this in our last show that we did last week, I had Lyra versus Nia Jax. I went with that. You didn't agree with it. And unfortunately, I had picked Valkyria to go over. But as far as having face versus heel in the finals, it was there. Now, the fact that Nia has been given this opportunity and Triple H again comes out because this was held first, not the men's match. This was held first. The importance of Triple H coming out. She was in tears. And hey, she also then sold it, talking garbage to the crowd shortly after that. I'm all for this run. And with her, she is going to go after Bayley now, right? As far as that title.
Yeah, so they stand their respective. So if you guys don't know, I'm sure you guys know by now, but just to reiterate everything, Triple H announced that the winners of the King and Queen of the Ring will get title shots at SummerSlam. So Nia Jax will go against, hopefully, my girl Bayley. But, you know, we shall see if she lasts till SummerSlam. SummerSlam's in August, so it's quite a bit of ways. You never know. Things might happen. But, yeah, so she's getting her title shot as of right now against Bayley. And way too early predictions. Does she have to get the title at SummerSlam at this point?
You know, I'm still just in awe that the Annihilator has been utilized effectively, and she doesn't mess around anymore. She drags your lifeless corpse over, climbs up the rope, and then squishes you.
Dude, but that Annihilator though wasn't even like of her regularly dragging someone over.
Oh no, it was a counter. Oh yeah.
Man, that counter. Oh my god, dude.
Get squished.
I feel like how can she even prepare her body for that? Like, it's one thing to prepare your body when you're getting dragged. You're like, okay, I'm about to take this bump, right? But you have to. It was so good at selling, in my opinion, on Lyra's part because it was a counter. Lyra had the upper hand, and then Nia Jax was like, nah, like, you know what I mean? Squish your body. Like, how can you brace for that bump? Like, well, to me, that is nuts. That is nuts to me. Like, that was one of the most crazy annihilators I've ever seen. And we've seen that move used throughout with a lot of big men in this company.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that one, honestly, in my opinion, is the most devastating one I've ever seen.
So I'm not going to go all the way too far into the future. I just want to live in the moment of what the PLE was because she did it. And now she's going to continue to tell wonderful stories as they continue to move forward with her. So she's been great since Becky and her made the ultimate promo of how she broke Becky's face. I almost died watching the move. Hey, and who says wrestling's not fake?
Derek, I popped when she hit that annihilator. I'm still freaking talking about it. I was just like, oh my God, like, was this a botch? Like, oh my God, like, nuts.
So No, I think it's the right move. It's going to be wonderful because whether or not you don't need to have Nia win, it's dirty tactics all the way. She's already been cheating and bumping people left and right. And so this is going to carry her for quite some time.
All right, I agree. Moving on to, we're still at the PLE here, to the King of the Ring finals. We had Gunther versus Randy Orton in a WrestleMania worthy match, in my opinion, until that ending.
Ending was on purpose, though.
You think so?
They referenced it on Raw.
I think they referenced it on Raw because they had to reference it on Raw because they got ripped to shreds on social media for it.
That was the only thing that went wrong with that.
We've seen it happen before. I mean, AEW's done it, TNA's done it, where they botched. Here, I'm going to take you to the most iconic AEW botch, in my opinion. All right. I think you were watching at this time. I know you kind of veered off, but back when Jon Moxley was in a match, I forget who was facing, but it was an exploding match, if you can recall.
The death match.
Yeah, and then Eddie Kingston comes out because there's a countdown, and he covers them,
Yeah,
and the fireworks go off,
the sparklers,
and it was just a little sparkler, and we were like, "What the hell is going on?" And then immediately on Wednesday, they already make jokes about exploding barbed wire death match. Thank you, Derek. Appreciate you. But immediately on Wednesday night, they go and they address it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, making light of it." I think that was a situation that WWE did because immediately all over TikTok, Twitter, his shoulder wasn't down. This was a botch because you saw Randy, when he was trying to do the pin, he was not there. He had no balance, which was the part. So I don't think it was on purpose. I think they're spinning it now, which we're going to get a rematch, and I'm all for it. Need to see it. Great match. But you do have a problem now. Randy's on SmackDown. This guy's on Raw. Triple H already had said that the referee's decision is final. So I don't know when we get this kind of rematch. So there's not going to be a King of the Ring rematch. They're already saying Gunther's it, and that's it. So if it was on purpose, then we'd be getting a rematch right away. We're not getting a rematch at all, in my opinion.
I didn't really like the ending of it. The match overall, very good. It's very clear that Gunther and Randy Orton are stars, and that another future Hall of Famer has now elevated Gunther to heights unseen, at least for himself. But what made it hard for me is that RKO number 1 gets hit. Ultimately, Gunther rolls out of the ring, I believe, right? Then fast forward, RKO number 2 drops. I said, well, that's it. I mean, it has to be because name me the last time someone kicked out of the RKO. That's one of the most well-protected finishers currently in WWE. That's something where someone does not kick out of that move. You're going to have to really think and look that up because I personally didn't look it up tonight because I'm curious to see if anyone out there knows immediately. You may have to look this up, but it's been a long time. So the second one drops, and ultimately Gunther kicks out. And that's where we get that roll up, and then it's the 1, the 2, and the 3. It just looked odd. I want to just believe that it was planned, right? That's why I purposely said that so I could see ultimately how you responded. I have a problem. I would love to know, like, at what part was the botch? Where did it happen? But overall, it's still a very solid match regardless because Gunther is continuing to rise and he is cementing himself as a force. And he continues to show that, what has it been, 2 years now that he's been on this run?
Mm-hmm. To answer your question, I think Gonzo's pretty right. Only 6 superstars have kicked out of the RKO.
Thank you. When was the last time? I can't tell you the last time someone.
I can't tell you the last time. Oh, wait, here we go. Hold on. February 22nd, 2022.
Yeah, but who was that? Roman Reigns?
Kevin Owens.
KO. Okay.
And then the people that have kicked out of it was Kevin Owens, Batista, John Cena, Mark Henry. Okay.
Well, that's probably when Mark Henry was doing the the House of Pain is what he was doing, that gimmick before he retired.
Undertaker and Kane.
I mean, those are all Hall of Famers, right?
Yeah. Well, should be, yeah.
outside of Kevin Owens, but
Should be, but yeah.
that's a big honor there.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'd have to do more research, but as of right now, doing quick because I don't want to take too much time on it. It says the last time was February 22nd, 2022.
It's been over a year. I mean, it just doesn't happen.
I am getting conflicting reports though here. Now I see a YouTube video which I can't watch right now, but oh wait, no, never mind. 6 superstars. We're good. I misread it. Yeah, it's just 6. I think that's what the number is right now. So it is protected, but everyone else who uses the RKO kicks out every 2 seconds.
Well, they're not Randy Orton. They don't have his mystique.
I guess. Whatever you say. All right, moving on. We're gonna go to Raw. We had Gunther in his kind of celebration promo. He's King of the Ring. I just want to point out that thank the Lord, he's not donning a king gimmick as of right now. He hasn't even put that thing on.
The announcers were pushing that crown really hard, though.
If you notice Nia Jax, Triple H put it on her, and Nia Jax was wearing it, and she was rocking that thing, whatever. But Gunther has yet to wear it. He didn't wear it on the PLE. He only held it up. He holds it like a title. Please don't give me the king gimmick. But as of right now, it doesn't seem like we're getting it. I just want to point that out. But anyway, so we had his promo. He's going to get his shot at the World Heavyweight Champion at SummerSlam. As of right now, it should be Damian Priest. But who knows? I really enjoyed his promo. I really want to make some emphasis on it because I think everything he said was facts. I put a few quotes here in our notes if you could see. He says that the Intercontinental Championship, it was lacking prestige, and he made it prestigious with his iconic reign. That's facts, in my opinion. Number 2, the King of the Ring was lacking prestige. I think he's going to bring it back because he's not going to take on a shit gimmick. Triple H also added to that fact by giving that new stipulation where they face the champion. And he kind of calls out Damian Priest in his run that it's also lacking prestige. And I think that's facts. And I like Damian Priest. And you know me and Angel have defended Damian Priest. But I think that's facts too. So that's why I kind of wanted to highlight those things. What else I wanted to say? They were saying we want Randy Chance. I don't know if you noticed that. That's what I'm saying. Like, social media really ripped them apart. I think you got to give us the rematch, but I don't think we're going to get it. He was then interrupted by Damian Priest, who also, as you said, references the shoulder up. And that he says he really didn't beat Orton. And then we get McIntyre, everyone's favorite heel. And once again, before he starts going off, who does he reference?
The one and only CM Punk.
CM Punk. This guy is so obsessed with CM Punk that he's not going to win the championship at Clash of the Castle. He's going to be 0-2 at Clash of the Castle. I'm already predicting that shit now. Damian Priest is not losing. And I think he's so obsessed that he's not going to be able to advance his career at all until we finally get that match at SummerSlam between him and CM Punk. And it better be SummerSlam, because I don't know how much more I can wait. But what are your thoughts on the promo? What are your thoughts on Gunther presumably facing Damian Priest? Are you excited for that? Is it the right move for Gunther to be the King of the Ring? Should it be somebody else? What do you think?
I mean, Gunther for 2 years, going on 3 now, has been a class act. And you had said it in one of our previous episodes where he wrestles like a heel, but ultimately he goes over clean with his victories, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is a man that literally is putting on wrestling clinics, ring psychology, working body parts, and continues to work them throughout the entire match. And that at times is something that current wrestlers don't do. I see this a lot. It just gets forgotten about, or ultimately 2 seconds later, they spring right back up from this devastating move that occurs. But with Gunther, matches are slowed down, they're accelerated, there's pacing. This is, I think, the right man to move forward if we're talking about bringing back technical wrestling with in-ring psychology. He's not a person that's flying off the ropes. He doesn't need to be. This is a person that's a bruiser. He literally is going to beat the shit out of you. It's literally, you see it every single match with those chops that he does. So I am 100% invested in him. And he is also very good at working over the crowds with his mic skills. So if we're talking about a very well balanced and all around wrestler performer, yes, it is him. As far as the promo, Damian Priest sounds really good when it's not something that he has to stick 100% to the script to. I think a lot of these he's allowed to go a little bit off kilt, and ultimately he mentions Drew McIntyre's wife. Is that okay? Yes, no, maybe so. Drew McIntyre jumps in there rather quickly when he starts, asking for her name. And there's a little bit of authenticity to Damian Priest. I like this side to him. We're seeing it every single week that we have him on screen. And as far as McIntyre, right now, we've grown accustomed to him losing. So if he loses again at Clash Castle, is it really going to hurt him? I don't think so. This is going to further add to the story if they continue to build this into the CM Punk rivalry. And in what dramatic fashion is he going to cost himself another victory, right? This is literally what Drew has been doing to himself. An amazing talent, but ultimately his obsession is what leads to his downfall time and time again. Now you have Damian Priest versus Gunther potentially. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm all for it too. I want to highlight this atrocious comment for a second. Damian needs out of WWE at 17A or something. This is ass. I'm sorry, Derek. You're my boy. But
Derek, are you turning into David Gonzalez here? I didn't realize that you wanted to make sure I kept my job tonight.
No way. But yeah, I mean, every point that you made right now, 100%. And I just want to point out for everyone that's listening or watching is that back when Gonzo was not really watching wrestling heavily, I would send him videos of then Walter, and he didn't like him. I'm not impressed, he says.
With Walter?
His chops were overrated, he says. And now look at him, blowing him up like he's the next big thing. You're welcome.
Well, this is Gunther we're talking about, not Walter. So that was
same
entire
person.
That
same
was 200
person.
pounds ago.
Same person.
Definitely not. Before
Same
and
person.
afters are
same
drastic.
Person. Let's go watch his NXT runs, bro. Moving on back to the PLE, the final match, the WWE Undisputed Heavyweight Championship match. Cody Rhodes defending against Logan Paul. We really didn't know which title was on the line until the Friday before. I thought it was a poorly built match. It was purely just star power, but the match was good. Logan, in my opinion, continues to impress. That frog splash onto the announce table. Holy crap. Sick. Another viral moment for him. He did that the same thing when he faced Roman Reigns 2 years ago. I don't think it was a frog splash that time. I think it was an elbow drop at that time, but Logan could get it, man. I want to highlight the promo from last week's SmackDown where Cody was low-key giving him his flowers that he wishes Logan would do it full time because of how talented he is and how quickly he adapted into this business. I don't know if you remember that from SmackDown at all.
But you're not a wrestler. You're not a wrestler until you do it full time.
There you go. And the fact that the amount of success he's had part-time doing these high-profile matchups, especially, in the multiverse over there in Saudi, I haven't seen a bad match from this guy. And honestly, the story here, we already know who's going to retain. We're not going to spend too much time on it. The story here is Logan. And we need this guy full-time. Give me full-time Logan, and I would 100% be okay with him being world champion.
This match was meant to display Logan Paul as a wrestler. Nothing more. A wrestler. I didn't care if he lost. I didn't care if he won. Can he hang?
Oh, you would have cared if he won.
No. I want Cody to still be champ.
We would have a different discussion if he won today. You saying you don't care if he won?
That.
Exactly.
I would be very upset.
Sorry to cut you off. I'm just saying. But go on.
Now, to crown him champion, no, I would not want that.
Of course.
So, as far as, again, is he a wrestler? Could he hang with a Cody Rhodes? Yeah, absolutely. He has been in various matches with people that have been in the ring wonderfully and helping him along the way. And it was on full display for this. Predictable at times, but you know what? Can you execute? Can I trust you to actually hit your spots when you need to? Can you deliver a believable story to where I'm invested as a fan? Yes, there's a difference between what he's able to do and what other wrestlers are, unfortunately, they drop the ball for whatever the reason, right? It's the facials, it's the way that you present your in-ring psychology, it's how you take a bump, it's how you give a bump. It's all of these things. Logan Paul has been killing it for what, the last 2.5, 3 years now. And whoever thought to come up with the 360 drone, I lost it just at that. I came up out of my seat. I said, let's go. I've never seen that before. And bam, he hits that frog splash. And then he hits another frog splash when he comes back in. So, and he's doing this part time. Lord only knows what this would look like if you were to do it full time. But again, I don't want to spend the entire show diverting away from this because this is going to be ongoing discussions that we have in the future for sure.
Yeah, I actually like how you mentioned that drone spot because if you remember from WrestleMania, the WrestleMania posts, what was it, media scrum or whatever you want to call it. Triple H says that they're exploring new camera angles. We see that with the entrances, with that drone spot. Made it. I mean, we've seen people jump a million times onto the announce tables. It's nothing new. But the drone spot, the different angle for the viewers at home, that much more iconic and amazing for us to actually see that. I mean, obviously it's cool to see live. If we were there in front row, obviously nothing beats that. But being at home, giving us that illusion that we are there with that drone spot, seeing how close instead of a camera going from, a different angle, that really sick. I mean, WWE is definitely firing. But moving on, let's get to a couple comments here. Cannot wait for Drew to beat Damian and Punk to come back at SummerSlam to beat him. I guarantee you Drew's going 0 to a Clash of Castle, buddy, in his hometown. Sorry. And that feud between Punk and Damian doesn't need a championship. Just saying. Unless David wants to combat that. Didn't think so. Moving on to another comment. Oh, let's get our little co-host over here who's too sunburned to come onto the show. Naira deserved the W, which she got it. Randy Orton got mollywopped. And Cody is Hulk Hogan. It's official. Table splash, real splash, kick out. Yeah, he is. I mean, he's the ultimate face right now, man. I mean, that's just what it's going to be.
Oh, Cody should have been disqualified. I'm just going to point this out. Specifically, when he took the prime bottle.
Love you too, buddy. Yeah, he took the prime bottle. I mean, the ref definitely gave a lot of leeway. I mean, they spent so much time outside the ring as well. I mean, it is what it is. So what do you think? You want to move on or you want to do a quick round of Pushberry Fire?
I want to talk about Sexy Red.
We're gonna
we
move
need to
on.
be educated. We need to be educated.
All right, moving on to NXT, which NXT had a fire show. I don't know if you guys watch NXT. I really do hope you guys do. A lot of people usually just stick to the main roster. But NXT is a great show, guys. Except when they bring Sexy Red. Gonzo, let me ask you a question, man. Who the fuck is Sexy Red?
I had to Google search Sexy Red because I didn't know who she was. Apparently, she's a rapper. According to Google, she's 26 years old and she was promoting, I guess, her newest album. Outside of that, that's all I know. So
I asked my wife who she was, and she immediately knew who she was. And I was like, I don't know if I should feel old or if like my music tastes are just not good anymore. Like, I don't understand. She's like, oh yeah, I was like, huh?
I mean, I'm pretty up to speed with, current music and whatnot, but this one completely threw a curveball to me. So for whoever's watching us tonight, if you know Sexy Red, I mean, I would gladly drop us a comment. apparently her number one hit song, I'd Like to Know, without cheating and going on to Apple Music or Spotify right now. So
I really just don't care. However, we're gonna have to care because she's about to play a major role for the next 2 weeks on NXT. She is now hosting the PLE in Vegas Battleground. She unveiled finally the Women's North American Championship, which looks just like the Men's North American Championship, except with a slight tint of pink on the strap. You know,
it's
that's
another
pretty.
belt. Be happy. It's
I
another
am.
belt.
I am. I am. I am.
You've been
I
asking for
I
this for
am.
years
I
now.
am. I am.
And here
It's
you are
another
shitting
belt for
on
the
it.
win. I just feel like in comparison to our era of wrestling that we truly watched religiously, there's a big lack of creativity when it comes to that. In WWE, at least. Other promotions, I feel like don't have that problem, but WWE is just so wanting to just push their brand, and I get that. Obviously, it's a business; you want your brand out there, and but like the titles mean something to me, and like everything should just be, you know, distinct in how they look. I understand it's still the North American Championship. It was going to look the same. I expected it. I just wish they had a little more creativity. I mean, to be honest, they really didn't need a female North American championship. They should have gave it something else. But
Oh
I'm
my
just glad
God.
it should have been
Come
called something
on.
else. Give it a TV championship or something. You know what I mean? Be a little more creative with it, but whatever. I'm just glad that the women have a mid card belt because the tag team division is ass.
It's
And
equality. That's what this
so
is. It's equality.
equality,
You,
hey, I'm all for it. I'm not talking about equality. I'm talking about lack of creativity on what the
oh,
championship looks like. Just like the Monday Night Raw championships, they all look the same. Give me
the
some
women's
creativity.
the
Give
women's
me some,
titles that are on the main roster were mimicked after the actual WWE
and
championships.
that's my point. That is my point. You're
But to be
proving my
seen,
point.
no, it's not so much about creativity. It's to show that those are the main titles, and it's no different potentially than from the men's. So if it's the same thing, ultimately we're seeing this potentially subliminally on the same level. Then that's how I see it, though.
I mean, that's a great perspective, and it's a good positive perspective from Senior Positivity over here, and that's
Oh, good.
fine.
I'm positive tonight. Usually
That
I shit on
that's
everything.
that's fine. I mean, and I'm not combating that perspective that you just gave us, and I applaud you for giving me that. And I'm gonna respectfully, rebuttal with it looks like ass. But that's fine. But moving on, she unveils the Women's North American Championship, which is fantastic. We still need a mid card belt on both Raw and SmackDown, or at least something that can go on both shows for the women there, because the women's tag team division is just absolutely atrocious. They don't put zero effort into it, and it would just be much better served having a mid card belt. But this is a big move. I'm glad it happened. So that's really cool. But like I said, back to Sexy Red, she's the one who's going to be presenting that title at Battleground. And we got another comment about her. Apparently, she's big. Don't know who Sexy Red is. Your AARP cards come in yet, fellas? You probably didn't even know who she was either. You probably just Google it, like everybody else in this world. But yeah. So moving on, the women's North American title qualifier, we had Michin versus Tatum Paxley.
Trash.
And
My girl lost.
who?
Tatum
Oh,
Paxley.
Tatum Paxley. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we got Ren Sinclair versus Kalani Jordan. We had Jordan and Michin qualify. So now the ladder match is set for Battleground. We got Sol Ruka, Lash Legend, Fallon Henley, Jada Parker, Michin, and Kalani Jordan competing in the ladder match for to become the first ever women's North American champion. And you know what I'm going to ask you? We're 2 weeks away. Prediction as of right now: who becomes the first ever North American champion?
First ever. Sol Ruka climbs the ladder, gets ripped off, tears her other ACL.
All right, dude. This guy with the morbid bullshit.
And the winner of the first ever Women's North American Championship is Fallon Henley. Thank you very much. You heard it here first.
All right. Well, I'm gonna combat that. First of all, I'm not. This show does not condone people tearing ACLs, breaking fibulas, all that good stuff. So, please don't cancel us. Secondly, Jada Parker. That's what I'm going with. I feel like Jada Parker.
Is she the lady that was on commentary
Yes.
the
From the first match.
for the first match, and I couldn't hear a
Mhm.
single word that she was saying because she was
Yeah.
whispering into the mic? Yeah, okay.
Yes, her. But for some reason, NXT loves her. She gets a lot of TV time, a lot of matches. Booker T blows her up. Like, one thing that you want to notice if who's getting pushed or who they want you to pay attention to is commentary.
Mhm.
Commentary has a lot more to say when Jada Parker's competing in comparison to other females. If you notice.
Mhm.
So I think Jada Parker will be the first ever women's North American champion. So if AOK wasn't sunburnt, he would give us his prediction. But I'm pretty sure that he loves Jada Parker too. So we're gonna team up on Dave here and Jada Parker. Moving on, we had Roxanne Perez demanding to know who she's defending her championship to. And your girl Ava makes NXT history. They're gonna give it to her. And the TNA Knockouts champion, the Beast, the Machine, Jordan Grace,
She's
is
ginormous.
answering that call. The Forbidden Door, which WWE is not allowed to say, is busted open, creating just a whirlwind of predictions now across social media. Because not only that, Triple H makes a statement saying that there is a working relationship between TNA and WWE, and there's a lot more to come. Personally, I'm all for this. I've been watching AEW for years. AEW, say what you want about it, but their mission statement was they're going to change the wrestling industry. And this is a big change for WWE. They do not acknowledge other promotions, dude.
Unless you're TNA.
And this is big, man. TNA and the world champion. We pretty much can guarantee she's going to take the L, obviously. I can't imagine her taking the NXT championship to Impact, but who knows? But this is going to make people watch Impact, much like when AEW and TNA had a working relationship where Christian Cage and Kenny Omega were going back and forth. Kenny Omega held the Impact World Champion simultaneously when he was the belt collector, and he had the AEW championship, if you remember that. One of the best title runs I've seen in
That
a
was back
decade.
in 2020. That's been 4 years now.
2021. But
Long time now, though.
long time. I mean, but that was one of the best title runs in recent memory of out of any promotion, in my opinion. So I mean, just based off that, because WWE wants to shit on AEW no matter if people don't want to acknowledge it or not. I mean, I find it very convenient that they're opening the Forbidden Door when AEW's next pay-per-view is the Forbidden Door. Say what you want, but this is a clear shot, you know. But in my opinion, if AEW was on fire with TNA so long ago with that, I could predict some crazy shit with WWE allowing that to happen. So I'm ecstatic right now. I don't know how you feel about it. I know you don't really know too much about Jordan Grace. You've seen her at the Royal Rumble, I believe, and that's pretty much your only impression of her. But you see her. She's a monster. She runs roughshod through TNA. She's their biggest female star in TNA right now. So this is a huge deal. This is not just a random person on that show.
Oh, no. I agree with you 100%.
So
It's good to see, definitely. So that crowd was into it. They popped like crazy. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for our next guest appearance that now has found a home in NXT.
we'll get there. Hold on. We'll get there. But yeah, so I was going to ask you, so you don't watch pretty much anything else besides WWE. I mean, you'll catch YouTube clips and you'll see little things here and there. I understand you do research and you just get the clips, right? Is this partnership right now? Is this gonna make you tune into TNA?
It's gonna make me go back and review a lot of who Jordan. It's Jordan Chance, right?
Jordan Grace.
Jordan Grace. Sorry, I don't know where Chance came from. Jordan Grace, definitely, because I was doing that when they introduced her at the Royal Rumble. And so I've watched some highlights of her just running through the competition, a little left, a little bit of the right. And so it's trying to find the time. in my schedule just to make the accommodations for that. So, but no, I will say that it makes me intrigued. I'd like to know what types of storylines that the champion or the knockout champion is involved with heading into this match now, of course, because there could be someone else that comes out of jealousy or spite that potentially interfere with this match. So that way you're not going to get a clean potential victory. Maybe it's something that goes over dirty because you already see a couple NXT stars that are already barking at the fact that you have a TNA superstar coming in here and being given this opportunity. So there's already built up animosity towards this.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know if you heard, but the TNA chants just erupted throughout that arena as well, which is dope. If you are, just a word of advice just for you or anybody else that doesn't really watch Impact, Impact is a good show.
YouTube, right?
No, it's on Access TV on cable.
Access TV.
Every Thursday, you can find your boy Nick Nemeth, aka Dolph Ziggler, there competing with his brother for the tag titles over there. Anyway, but like I said, if you don't watch TNA, I mean, I understand TNA was hot way back in the day. I mean, it's a lower production value show, but the story and the matches are there, and it's a solid show throughout. But for those of you who don't watch and you want to learn more about Jordan Grace, I highly suggest you go look at highlights of her feud with Deonna Purrazzo. Deonna Purrazzo is now with AEW.
Yep.
Deonna Purrazzo is now in AEW, but go and look up that feud, and I guarantee you'll be a fan of both women, hands down. Moving on, we have Trick Williams and Javon Evans versus Gallus in the main event. The match was kind of lackluster in my opinion. I feel like they just wanted to tell a story which happened afterwards more than anything. But we had Lash Legend come out, confronted Trick Williams post-match, asked straight up if he's behind the attacks. Light goes out, and the one that got away, once again, I'm an AEW fan, I'm a TNA fan, Ethan Page attacks Trick Williams. This is a big get for NXT, underutilized talent from AEW. This is a former TNA world champion. Ethan Page is a big name, guys.
That crowd had no idea who he was, too.
Once again, guys, if you don't know who Ethan Page is, go and look, because this guy AEW should have used, and they fucked up. I'm letting you know right now. You're going to love Ethan Page. But he was behind the attacks. New signing. NXT, very hot show this past week. I like the direction that we're moving forward right now, especially with the call-ups. So we shall see what's going to go on. I'm very interested to see, what's going on with Jordan Grace, if there's going to be any other TNA invasion type, maybe even on the main roster. We don't know what the TNA WWE partnership holds, but that's going to be great. Moving on, last thing. So we're going to get in a few little hot topics here, and then we'll close out. Number one, SummerSlam in 2026 now is going to be 2 nights.
2.
What do you think about that?
All for it. I know you and AOK Gaming are not for it. I am all for it.
So I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I think WrestleMania should be the only 2-night event. It makes WrestleMania more special than other PLEs or pay-per-views, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And WrestleMania, Mania is like a whole big extravaganza. That's why it's called WrestleMania. And I think that's well deserving of the 2-night, thing. WrestleMania is already like a week-long process, regardless. I mean, putting SummerSlam at 2 nights, I think it's kind of pointless. I don't know. I really don't want to move these big paper. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to put Royal Rumble 2 nights too? You're going to put the women on one night and the men on the other? And, I don't know. WrestleMania should be the only one, in my opinion. I mean,
take. You're against it.
But, we'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on it. Let us know. You see our videos or clips, comment. What do you guys think about that? Next, we got the rumored more TNA WWE crossovers. We already touched on that. I wanted to ask Gonzo this right now. What is next for LA Knight?
He's going to take a week or 2 break, and then he's going to come full throttle for I Don't Miss when it comes for oh, what the hell is the guy's name? Forgot his name. Carmelo Hayes. There he is. That's going to be the feud that you're going to see moving forward. And that's going to be, I said this last week, it's going to be something that's going to elevate Melo. And so, as far as LA Knight, I know you keep saying that he needs to have some type of belt. We said the U.S. title would be wonderful. And that's where I'll leave my hot take. You're going to see Melo. Hopefully, he finds his way into the U.S. title and he wins the U.S. title. That's what I'd like to see from our guy.
Okay. On SmackDown, we saw AJ Styles begging for Nick Aldis for another shot at Cody Rhodes, and all this saying that he has to earn it. What were you gonna say about that?
I was going to ask you, what's your take on old man AJ Styles at this point begging for opportunities? Because AJ said it himself, he's running out of time.
Him saying he's running out of time kind of makes me heartbroken. I fucking love AJ Styles, dude. So it kind of worries me. I think he does get one more shot though. So that leads us to my next question. Who should Cody's next opponent be?
Because we went face, now we're going back to, well, technically AJ Styles is not a face, he's an anti-hero right now, right? Anti-hero, full blown out heel. So as far as Cody, I guess, what do you want to see?
I think I want to see one more match between Cody and AJ Styles because no one else makes sense right now.
We'll probably get it, possibly, if that's the case.
And let's do we're finishing up with Cody right now, but let's do a little way too early prediction here. So SummerSlam's in August. We got a couple PLEs in the way of that. Who does Cody face at SummerSlam? SummerSlam has to be a big time premier opponent, right? Because that's one of the big. This is WrestleMania of summer, right? It's gonna become 2 nights now.
Mm-hmm.
So you clearly know how important SummerSlam is. Who is big enough and over enough at this point in time right now to give us a way too early prediction for Cody for SummerSlam? Exactly.
Well, the only person that you're possibly going to see come from this is what they're going to build here in the next 1 to 2 months. Oh, you want LA Knight, huh?
He needs it.
That's what you want. You want him to take another L. You want this dude to actually win, and you're going to put him in a match like that. Jesus Christ, dude. What's wrong with you? You buried me last week for saying such things, and here you go with wanting to have this dude take another L.
This was the point of the question. It's the lack of superstar power on SmackDown.
And that's fine for right now. They're building.
That was my point.
Easy. That's why they have 2 months to build towards this. I'm not in panic mode.
I'm not in panic mode either.
It'd be different if we were like already mid-July and this shit's about to take place in like 3 weeks. Then we have something to worry about.
Can I throw out a crazy name right now? And you're probably gonna. I know AOK would shit on me right now.
I'm all ears. Go right ahead.
Cody Rhodes should face
Nakamura.
Solo Sikoa.
Well, I mean,
only because
to build the story for Mania.
For Mania, for when Roman Reigns or The Rock or whoever's going to come back, I think they come back and be like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you challenging for this championship right now?
Mm-hmm.
Only because of that. Not because I think this guy is deserving, but, you know. But Solo Sikoa should face Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania or at SummerSlam. Solo only talks. All he does is lose. A quote from AOK. That is correct. That is correct. All right, Gonzo. That was a great show for you guys. And we want to thank you guys for listening and engaging and watching. We appreciate you every week. Once again, you could find us every Wednesday night, 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time as our new days, Wednesdays. And like I said, tentatively, only for PLEs, we'll be doing Saturdays or Sundays. But, you know, that's not always guaranteed.
As long as they're reasonable hours.
As long as they're reasonable hours. So hopefully the next PLE, we will do a post show immediately. But, you know, it all depends on the wives. So, but like I said, you can join us live every Wednesday, 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, or watch rewatch it on YouTube. Or if you're just not into watching things, you know, listen to us on Spotify. Smack Talk Wrestling Podcast. Gonzo, why don't you tell everybody where we can find you?
As far as social media platforms, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok are going to have the raising underscore personalities. That's where you can find me there. I'm on X, but usually I'm only there when there's PLEs about, and the Kingpin is just nonstop spamming out tweets. That way I can generate more to the algorithm. I really don't use X all too much, mostly YouTube and Instagram for sure, TikTok as well. And as far as the name for the X, it's actually going to be, if you're watching now, it's the David underscore MA underscore LCPC. For those of you who don't know what the letters mean, I'm a master's level therapist here in the state of Illinois. So I do a lot of individual, family, and couples counseling for people that are struggling with behavioral health and or addiction complications. And so for me, that's actually my full-time job when I'm not coming on here talking with Kingpin and AOK Gaming in regards to just wrestling and some of our other interests. Big Bears fan at the moment. And so that's where you're going to find me on the different types of social media platforms. And so I know I had sent this out to Kingpin earlier, but unfortunately I am drinking the Kool-Aid when it comes to Caleb Williams. I am starting to buy in all in on the hype here. You can call me whatever you'd like to. My wife looked at me in pain and disgust as I brought these into the household. And so maybe one day that this autographed rated PSA 9 Caleb Williams will make me maybe retire a little bit early, but who knows? Maybe I'm just a delusional Bears fan at this point. But Mark, tell us where people can find you at this time.
All right, you guys know me, the Pro Wrestling Kingpin, just as it's spelled below my face. You can find me on all social media except Facebook. I am very active on X when it comes to PLEs. I also post on Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. Much like David is into collecting football cards, I am a big wrestling card collector. So we need Braun Breaker to continue his terror because I have his autographed rookie card numbered to 10. So I need that guy to become a Hall of Famer so I could sell that shit too. But yeah, if you guys are into the wrestling cards or just wrestling content in general, you know where to find me. All social media, pro underscore wrestling underscore Kingpin. And if you're into wrestling cards, let me know. Let me see what you got. Tweet at me. Send me your best card. Maybe let's do some trades. I'm looking for a Walter rookie card from NXT. So if you got it, I want it. Let me know. Until then, once again, you can find us every Wednesday night, 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, or on Spotify. We appreciate you guys watching. Caleb is not going to suck, Derek. You know who sucks? Cincinnati. And we are out. Join us next week.
Hey, easy there. Easy.
Cincinnati Reds. I'm talking about Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, I hope you're talking about the Reds. Let's not disrespect Joe Burrow and company. So I got enough respect there.
He'll probably tear another ACL. All right, we are out of here. Please join us next week. We appreciate you guys, and we are out. Thanks for watching.